Welcome back, artists. We're going to talk about the clay process today. I'm going to demonstrate some different clay techniques, and I'm also going to review some glazing rules. Throughout the clay process, the clay takes some different forms. When you first get the clay, it's going to be squishy and cold and gray and wet even. And once you've molded it into the shape that you want, it goes into a machine called a kiln, which works sort of like an oven. It gets to be over 1,000 degrees. When the clay comes out, it's white and fragile and it's hard like a rock. You then paint your pottery with a paint called glaze, and it goes back into the kiln. When it comes out, it's colorful and it's smooth and it's shiny. When you set up for clay, you're gonna need a placemat. You're gonna need some clay tools. In the toolbox is a small cup that needs to be filled with water. This will be used when we're connecting two pieces of clay together. First, I'd like to show you the 4 different clay techniques, starting with pinch pot. When you're making a pinch pot, you're going to want to first mold the clay into a sphere or a ball. Okay. You want to keep in mind that when you're working with clay, that you only have so many touches. If you handle it too much, the clay will dry out and it will harden like a rock. So now that I've got my sphere, I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to press it into the middle of this ball here. And I've made sort of like a thumbprint. I'm then going to take my hand and make sort of like a birdie's beak like this. And I'm going to stick my thumb into the bottom of my thumbprint and start to pinch the walls of my pinch pot, opening up that mouth there. I'm pinching from the bottom, I'm not pinching from the top, okay? And you want to just feel with your hands to make sure that the walls of the pinch pot are all about the same thickness, okay? That's a pinch pot. Over here. The next clay technique I'm going to show you is called a coil. And a coil is kind of like a long, skinny snake. So you can use your hands to make your long, skinny snake. You could use your table, whatever works best. I find that just using my hands. Roll it on your placemat. Okay, that's a coil. The next clay technique I'm going to show you is called a slab. Now, you can use tools to make a slab, which involves sort of like these stick or ruler type things with a roller over top. If you don't have those things, the first thing you can do is just make a sphere again, or a round ball. And then you can start to flatten it, maybe using your table, or maybe just between your 2 hands. So it's sort of like a flat pancake. That's a slab. The last clay technique is called model. And this is when you're just pinching or pulling or pressing the clay into the shape that you want. So I'm actually going to make like a star shape. I think I'm going to roll a ball first. And then I'm going to start to model or pull out you could make a person, you could make an animal. Okay. So that's modeling. Your pottery is going to look like this when it's time to glaze. When you set up for glaze, you're going to need a placemat, you're going to need a container of the glazes, and you're going to need a paintbrush for each color of glaze. There are 3 glaze rules that I have. The first one is do not paint the bottom of your piece. If you paint the bottom of your piece, it'll go into the kiln and it'll get stuck to my kiln. It'll ruin your piece and it will also ruin my kiln. So please do not paint the bottom, any part of your project that is touching the table. Do not paint. My second glaze rule is paint the light colors first. If you paint dark colors first, you'll notice that they'll come out transparent. So paint all your light colors first. My third glaze rule is you need to paint each color 3 times over. So you need to do 3 coats of each color. You'll also notice that the paint doesn't look the way it will when it comes out of the kiln. For instance, this is a blue color, and this is what it's gonna look like when it's out of the kiln, like this. You're gonna just paint everything except for the very bottom, and you want to make sure that you get in each of the cracks and crevices. If you don't paint your pottery, it will just stay this sort of chalky white color.